Hey, I'm Jess, and this is my tiny house, which I moved into about a year ago. Today I'm going to give you a little tour around my tiny house. I've been dreaming about going tiny for over a decade now. I love the idea of the simplicity of being out in nature, completely off-grid and immersed in amongst our natural habitat. This little area at the front of my tiny house has certainly been a work in progress over the last 12 months, considering I've done it all myself. Slowly but surely I'll get there one day. With the intentions of having an outdoor veggie patch, perhaps some chickens, a nice pergola, a deck, and a lovely little area for a fireplace. Finishing up school, I didn't know what I wanted to study. I had a very particular interest in joinery and carpentry, but was told the avenue was too masculine and I wouldn't have a very good chance at pursuing that as a career. And so with that, I spoke to a lot of my high school teachers and was guided down the path of architecture. I studied for a total of 5 years. During that time, I was able to travel for uni abroad to Vietnam and Mexico. It was in those experiences that I fell in love with very small niche spaces, which allowed you to just go out and explore. And up here I have my solar panels with my batteries and my inverters. I decided to go for a solar system on a trailer, so I had the flexibility of locating it anywhere I needed to. Over here I have my 5,000 litre water tank, which collects rainwater from the roof of my tiny house. Out the front of the tiny house I have a collection of logs which I have pulled up from the back of the property after cutting down myself with my little chainsaw, but I've collected these in order to make my pergola and my deck. I wanted to have a lot more independence and freedom, especially after enduring the COVID lockdowns in Melbourne, Victoria. During COVID, I felt quite stuck and isolated. I wanted to design and build my own tiny house. However, when starting my mission, renovating a caravan or a shipping container, I found that there was quite a lot of work and quite a lot of knowledge that I was unaware of. I thought about reaching out to tiny house builders across Australia. That's when I stumbled across Aussie tiny houses. I reached out and submitted my portfolio and my resume, and from that I started working for the team remotely down in Victoria whilst I sorted out my living situation and made the move up to the Sunshine Coast. As we come on inside to the tiny house, I really wanted to make the space feel as large and open as possible, bringing as much of the outside inside. The highlight windows that I've got up and above the lounge room area, they're awning windows. As we come on into the kitchen, you'll notice I have a nice big slab of salvaged timber. This is actually fixed to some steel legs with rollers at the bottom, so I can relocate the table whenever I like. And at the rear of the kitchen, I have my full-size pull-out pantry, which we've integrated into the joinery to maximise the space and give me a lot of room for my food. The year that I'd been working for Aussie Tiny Houses, an opening slot appeared within the production timeline. A dear friend actually suggested that I take advantage of the situation. And as much as I had always intended on being in my own tiny house, I just hadn't quite anticipated it would happen quite this quickly. And at the rear of the tiny house, I have my bathroom. I had a large shower in mind and actually designed most of the elements around the bathroom in relation to the shower base itself. It is a 1200 by 900 shower base with an acrylic wall paneling, which just makes cleaning the shower a whole lot easier. Finishing up the bathroom, I purposely built my stairs into the end of the bathroom, just making the space more private, and in doing so, I've been able to integrate a lot of hidden storage behind a lot of these doors. Lastly, up the stairs, we have my loft. When considering the loft of my tiny house, I wanted to ensure I could easily make my bed, but not jeopardise any of the views. Centered above the bed, I have a 1275 by 1275 skylight. The skylight itself opens up for additional cross ventilation and allows me to stargaze at night. On either side of the bed, I have wall-mounted lights which are controlled with a switch just underneath the light themselves. This allows me to keep the space either side of the mattress nice and tidy and clean. On the side of the loft that faces in towards the kitchen and the living room space, I purposely excluded a wall so I could integrate something of my own taste and desire. Having lived in a tiny house for an extended period of time now, the experience has helped me understand the needs, wants and desires of each individual client and apply it into their own tiny house. Being off-grid, I honestly wouldn't change it for the world. If you've ever considered living in a tiny house yourself, setting up secondary accommodation or housing relatives for short term, I would suggest that you start doing your research, explore all avenues that are right for you, and if it feels right, speak with our friendly team members at Aussie Tiny Houses. We've been doing this for a long time and we live and breathe helping people go tiny.